Good evening, everyone. This is meteorologist Rich Apuzzo. It's a gorgeous night for baseball. We've got a mixture of high level and low level cloudiness, and that makes for a beautiful partly cloudy sky. Light northerly breezes, and temperatures during the evening will fall slowly through the 60s.
Thanks, Rich. You hit the nail right on the head. A picture perfect night for baseball. Let's get right to it and check the Mercury starting lineup for Bobby Valentine and the visiting New York Mets. It'll be a familiar one for Mets fans and a familiar one for most baseball fans. Rickey Henderson will lead it off. Edgardo Alfonzo will bat in the number 2 spot. John Olerud, after getting last night off, will be back in the lineup hitting third. And he, against the Reds, has been outstanding. How about Mike Piazza? 17-game hitting streak. Terror against Cincinnati throughout his career. He's back after a night off last night. Brian McRae's back in center field. Matt Franco's in for Ventura at third. Roger Cedeno will be in the lineup. Ray Ordonez, and then Rick Reed, the pitcher, will bat in the 9th spot. Here's Brett Tomko, the Reds' right-hander.
Well, Brett Tomko was challenged a couple of times this year, once by a demotion to Indianapolis. He came back strong from that. Then he faltered a little bit, so they put him in the bullpen. But since he has come back from the bullpen, he's pitched 2 ball games and has given up but 1 run in 10 innings. So Brett Tomko hopefully has found his groove and can continue the way he pitched his last ball game. That was last Wednesday against the Twins.
Rickey Henderson backed up on that fastball up and in. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rickey's numbers offensively: 239, 3 home runs, 8 runs batted in. But more importantly, he remains outstanding when it comes to getting on base. He's been getting on base over 40% of the time for the Mets. And, you know, throughout his career, a lot of the time that comes with bases on balls. In baseball's all-time records, Babe Ruth is number 1. Ted Williams is number 2. Rickey Henderson is number 3 in all-time walks. That's why he's been such a dominant leadoff hitter. He has the complete package. He'll take a walk. He'll hit for average. He'll get on base and steal a bag for you. So the Reds very clearly want to keep him off the bases. Last night, disaster for Ron Vallone in the 1st inning, but somehow he avoided a complete meltdown and managed to keep things on even keel after walking 4 in the 1st. This time, Rickey will go 3 balls and 2 strikes to him. Henderson has stolen 14 bases this year already. That's one of the reasons why you want to keep him out. Here's another one. It's hit deep to left center. It's going to be another leadoff home run for Rickey Henderson. He can do it in so many ways, Chris. And he gets on. He's a pest. As a base runner with a walk, he'll get a double and steal third, or he'll do it this way.
Well, George, you talked about the different dimension that he brings to you as far as getting on base, and he really can get on base. He's got 35 walks, so Brett Tomko's thinking, I'm just going to have to groove a fastball right here. Not on a 3-2 pitch. He can launch.
For Rickey, that's number 4 on the year and his 74th career leadoff home run. 74 times he's led off a ball game with a home run to give his team a lead. And of course, he owns that record just like he owns the stolen base record. 74th time for Rickey Henderson. Not the way Brett Tomko wanted to start this one. 1-0 Mets. He's so tough, Chris. He'll work a count deep. He'll make you come to him with his pitch. He got it to 3-2 and he hopped on a fastball.
You know, George, this may sound funny to some people, but a leadoff home run might be better than a leadoff walk. After all, it's oftentimes known that a home run to start the inning can be a rally killer. There's a letdown in the offense from then on, and then there's a certain muster that that pitcher will gather afterwards. And 74 times he has done that.
That's inside to Edgardo Alfonzo, and Taubensee will go out and talk to Brett Tomko.
Unless, of course, that leadoff home run is followed by a leadoff walk. Then you're really asking for some trouble.
Well, last night, Ron Vallone walked 4 in the 1st inning. Somehow he was able to avoid complete disaster, and the Reds rallied and finally eventually tied the game and won the game, taking a lead on Aaron Boone's home run. Last night, Henderson walked, Alfonso singled, Agbayani walked, a sacrifice scored a run. After 2 more walks, another run was forced in, and it was 2-0 Mets in the early going. Here's John Olerud, who had the night off last night. Talk about a guy who has the picture-perfect guy. Olerud leads this club with 52 bases on balls. Continues to be one of the top on-base percentage players in all of baseball. Most of the time, that's a positive, but ironically, Olerud's been a little bit unhappy. His average at .313. The average has sunk a little bit, and Mickey Brantley, the new hitting instructor, took over for Tom Robson, really thinks that part of it is that Olerud has been so concerned with getting on base, he's lost a little bit of his aggressiveness. So John started to be a little more aggressive at the plate of late. He's struggled through the month of June. He's at 196 in June, but he's still at .313. He was up over .340 before he hit the month of June. He's a picture-perfect swing, short, compact swing. Doesn't hit for a lot of power, but he has 10 home runs this year. On the outside corner for a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I guess one way to describe the way that John Olerud approaches things at the plate is to describe him as having tremendous balance. Very few times do you see him lunge at the ball. Very few times do you see him swing, miss, and almost fall down as you see other hitters do. He stays in complete balance, which will take away from your home run power a little bit, but maybe not this time.
This is way deep. Back is Cameron to the edge of the wall. That's gone. Well, for the second consecutive night, the Mets take an early lead. A home run, a walk, and another home run. Not what Brett Tomko had in mind, and not what Jack McKeon and Don Gullett had in mind. After the way Tomko had pitched, they thought for a change they'd get a good first inning out of a starter. Not so, and it's now 3-0 New York Mets. Home run number 10 for Olerud. Still no one out here in the first. Don Gullett has not had an easy first inning, it seems like, since about March. And it doesn't get any either. Here comes Piazza. Mike in at .324, sitting on a 17-game hitting streak. That's 3rd in the league this year. Luis Gonzalez had a 30-game streak. Larry Walker 21. Sosa and Piazza at 17. Mike had yesterday off, a day that he had planned off. He talked to Valentine on the weekend saying he'd play Sunday and then take Monday off. They sat Olerud last night and put Bonilla at first to try to give him some at bats. 2 balls, 1 strike to Piazza. Well, the hallmark of the Reds' 4-game win streak against the Mets is that they pitch the big guys well. Not in this inning. How about this? Going way back. It's going to be 3 round trippers in the first inning, and Tomko now is behind 4-0. Second time this year the Mets have gone back-to-back in home runs against the Reds. This time it's Olerud and Piazza. 4-0 New York.
A somber dugout, to be sure. Sean Casey makes his way out to the pitching mound to talk to Brett Tomko. I'm not sure what you say to a pitcher that has given up 3 home runs in the first inning without getting anybody out.
That's 12 home runs Tomko's given up this year in 57 innings of pitching. Now, for the second time this year, the Mets have touched Brett Tomko with back-to-back home runs. The last time was in New York City, and this time it's here in Cincinnati. Here's Brian McRae back in center field tonight, in at 260. And of course, the hit by Piazza stretches his hitting streak now to 18 straight. Now, once again, the Reds will play come from behind baseball if they're going to keep a win streak alive against the Mets. Half the folks filing into Synergy Field hadn't even nestled into their seats, and already the Reds are down. 4-0, and finally there's an out and kind of a Bronx cheer from the fans here. Strikeout number 1, out number 1 here in the first. Let's take a look back. Here's Olerud's home run.
And it's a breaking ball. This is the only breaking ball of the 3 home runs it was gone deep on. Olerud gets it. We talked about him not really having that much power, but that is home run number 11 for John. Piazza, he gets a fastball on the inner part of the plate. Taubensee had set up way inside. Tomko simply missed his spot, and boy, Piazza teed off.
So 4 in, 1 out, and here's Matt Franco getting the start at third for Robin Ventura. Ventura also a planned day off today, although he did jam his leg yesterday early in the ball game, and as it turned out, he could use the day off today. So Franco gets the start. The number 1 pinch hitter off the bench for Bobby Valentine. He gets one of his rare appearances in the field. Comes in at 255, only his 56th at bat of the year. Chris, I tell you, isn't it? I mean, it is somewhat amazing that the way starting pitching has gone for the Reds, that the Reds are even 5 games over 500 at this juncture, considering the fact that starting pitching time and time again has been hammered early in ball games.
We've seen some real gutty performances by the everyday players and the bullpen to keep these guys in ball games. And of course, the starters have been roughed up. It seems like every time you turn around, they've got to overcome some type of deficit just to get back in the game.
Off the end of the bat, but this will carry out to the edge of the warning track. Vaughn has it, and there's 2 away.
You can say all you want about how well the ball carries here when it heats up, and we saw a very hot weekend against the Cleveland Indians and some home runs, but boy, the way the Mets teed off here in the first inning, you might say it's even carrying better here on a cool night than it did on a warm weekend.
There were some balls earlier this year that weren't hit really well. You could tell by the sound they kept carrying. These 3 were teed off on. Rickey started it to make it 1-0 after a walk to Alfonso. Olerud's home run made it 3-0. Then Piazza 4-0. His 13th home run of the year. And here's Cedeno. Roger at 311. Playing right field tonight. Cedeno has turned out to be one of the bright surprises of the 1999 season in the National League. He came over as a throw-in the Bonilla deal from the Dodgers. The Dodgers thought they had an overabundance of outfielders. Boy, he not only has sparked this club offensively, he's been great defensively, and he's been stealing bases at a record clip. Well, finally, after giving up 4, Tomko strikes out 2, gets a 1-2-3 inning, but it came a little too late. 4-0 Mets. We're going to the bottom of 1.